Hi, this is Alexandra at Beadaholique, here to show you how to make the Calypso wire-wrapped earring kits by Beadaholique. So this exclusive kit is available on Beadaholique.com and comes in 4 beautiful colorways, including Apricot, Ocean, Plum, and Teal. In this video, we'll be putting together the Plum variation, and when you buy this kit, you'll receive everything you see here, including size 8/0 seed beads, 3mm metal beads, 2x3mm check glass faceted microspacers, as well as some beautiful 3mm Swarovski crystal pearls. You'll get a full spool of artistic wire in 28 gauge, a pair of Bali style ear hooks, and some Nylon design wire frames. What you won't receive are just a few basic tools that you'll need, including flush cutters, chain nose pliers, and possibly a pair of nylon jaw pliers, although if you don't have those, that's fine. So let's get started. I'm going to bring in my ruler and begin by cutting my wire. So I'll open this up. And I'm going to cut 20 inches to start. Sometimes you'll need your pliers to kind of get the wire off the spool. So let me measure my 20 inches, 15, and 20. Use my flush cutters to cut that off. And I'm first going to take up my Nylon design wire frame. Now let's decide which is the front side, and for the purpose of this design, I'm taking the straighter edge on the left. And I'm going to overlay my wire about 1.5 inches or 2, maybe 1/4 inch down from the top loop, over the top. And with that tail, I'm going to begin wrapping around the edge of the frame 6 coils. My wraps are loose, but we'll tighten those up once we're ready. Once I've got my 6, there we go. I'm heading the very end of my tail in toward the center of the piece. And either with my fingernails like so, or with my pliers, I'm going to squeeze together those wraps and make sure they're nice and straight. And tuck in my tail and clip it with my flush cutters. And now I'm going to take the remainder of my wire and bring it through the center of my frame so that it's on the underside of the opposite edge of the frame. And I'm ready to string on my first layer of beads, which is going to be 5 of the 8/0 seed beads. My wire is acting as a needle. And I'm going to string those all the way through down to the coil that I made. And coming from the underside on the opposite edge, again I'm going to come around 6 times, stacking my coils against each other. This 28 gauge wire is very malleable. Now you see I've got a little kink in my wire. So what I'm going to do is just press the wire away from itself to undo that. You may find this happens to you. And here's where I'm going to pull in my nylon jaw pliers and just straighten that wire out. All right, so continuing, I've got my 6 coils. Pinching with my fingernails, or alternatively I could take my chain nose plier and squeeze those coils together. I've come through the center and underneath the opposite side of my frame, and I'm ready to add on my second layer of beads, which is 4 of the metal beads. These are hollow, so sometimes you have to kind of press them up with your finger. bring those down and through. And I'm going to flip my frame over so that I'm working on the right-hand side since I am right-handed, and start to coil around the opposite edge 6 times. There went my wire again. This is a little bit of length to work with at the beginning, but it's best to start with one single length of wire, and that way you're not having to reattach multiple times. 4, 5, scoot that up a little bit, and 6. All right, I'm coming through and across my frame. Take my pliers and squeeze those wraps together. And I can adjust as I go. These are sliding up and down along the frame, so that allows some flexibility. So coming down and through, I'm ready to add on my 3rd layer of beads, which is 8 of these micro spacers. There's 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now we've standardized the counts on each of these beads, and you'll be receiving a few extras of each of them just in case one gets away from you or isn't quite the right size. You'll find that because we're using a variety of sizes and shapes, that you may have a little extra space on your wire or not enough, in which case feel free to adjust the number of beads. Again, we've standardized this for the purposes of our kits to make it as user-friendly as possible. 5 and 6, okay. Coming through the frame and across underneath the opposite side, I'm ready to add on my 4th layer, which is 8 of the 8O beads. Straighten my wire out a little bit. And particularly with these 8O beads, they're designed to be a standard size, but they are just sometimes a little wider or a little thinner. So you may want to adjust the number that you put on there. 3, 4, 5. But we find that these numbers have worked for us across the color palettes. There's 8, and I need one more. 9. All right, so there's my 4th row of 8O beads. I've got 9 on there, and I'm going to come around 6 times. And 6. And when my coils are wide apart, it's easiest for me to double check my count, and then I can just squeeze them together with my plier. And I'm ready for my 5th row, which is going to be 7 of the Swarovski crystal pearls. There we go. All right, that fills the space, coming from under the opposite side and coiling 6 times around the edge. Sometimes when you get in the rhythm of it, your coils can be nice and tight together, and then you don't even need your pliers. And there's 6, coming through and underneath the opposite side, and I'm ready to add on 10 of my 8O seed beads. Coming through the center, underneath the opposite side, I'm coming around 6 more times. There's 6. I'm going to use my plier to tighten this row up. The unique thing about this kit is that it includes a real variety of textures and finishes that give a nice, natural, organic feel to these artisan earrings. Okay, so now I'm ready to add 11 of my micro spacers. I'm on to row 7. So adding 11 beads. Get those down in the center and create my coils. There's 6. Coming through the center, tucking my rows together, come up on each of these and give them a little squeeze. All right, through the center, and I'm ready to add on my 8th row of beads, which is 7 metal beads. There we go. Coming around the opposite side. My 6, tuck those together, and begin my last row, which is going to be 10 of the 8 beads. Double check my count here. I've got 5 and 5 for 10. You can see that my wires have scooched along the edge a little bit, but that's okay because we'll be readjusting once we're finished. Give them all a nice tight squeeze with the pliers. So I'm coming from underneath and I'm going to do 6 final coils. And in this last row, I want to make sure they're nice and tight. That's my 6th coil there, so I'm going to clip the extra wire right at the point where the very tip is going to tuck into the center of the frame. Give that a good squeeze. And at this point I can make some micro adjustments, kind of straighten things up, but you notice that it's got sort of a organic look to it, and that's part of the charm of the piece. So also what you can do from behind is give those beads a little bit of a push forward, and that will give them a straightened out look as well, kind of fill that out. Now all we need to do is add our earring hook. So for that I'm going to bring over my volley style ear hook, and with my plier, just going to gently open that top loop forward a bit, slide my earring right on and close it up. And there we have the Plum version of these Calypso earrings. These are available exclusively at Beadaholique.com. Thanks for watching.